Hello. I just want to do a blog about the differences between the USA and the Philippines, and I would suggest that people of retirement age, men especially retirement age, want a nice place to retire, inexpensive, keep more money in your pocket, and really have a better quality of life because. Uh, I had properties in the USA, and I had built my home there, and it just got to be too expensive. Everything was getting out of sight. I don't care what you did, even garage repairs, even though I'm a decent mechanic, some things you just can't do yourself. And the garages wanted to get like $75 to $100 per hour in the US. And it costs a lot of money to maintain an automobile when you're single like I was. I was single for like 35 years and never really had much help with anything. But and then anytime I did have help, of course, I'd have to pay them, and the quality of help wasn't there because I lived in the country and they didn't really care. They just wanted their beer money, really. So I'm not a drinker or a smoker, so I decided about 6 or 7 years ago that I wanted to get out of there and start a new life over here somewhere. I was actually thinking about Panama, and I thought about Belize, and I thought about Russia. I was in contact with, of course, women all over the country trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I decided that the best place for everything, as far as like finding a decent woman and finding an inexpensive place to live, so I would have more money in my pocket. And even the other countries, I wasn't sure about driving there, and the language barrier is 90% of the Filipinos speak English because of the affiliation with America since the turn of the century, the last century, 1900. Of course, the USA had the Philippines as a colony back then, and so they became familiar with American culture. And so through the years, it just kind of blossomed, and majority of them now do speak English and Tagalog. Of course, there are like 170 different dialects here in the Philippines. I believe there's 7,160 islands or atolls here, and some of them are quite primitive. I've not visited anything yet. I've been stuck here basically with the COVID thing. I've been here 2.5 years now. I sold my property in New England, and I didn't get only half of what I wanted for it, but I wanted to get out of there. I was just at the point where too much snow, too cold, too hard. It was just too hard. You shoveled your damn car out and the plow comes by and buries you in. And the quality of women, nah. Most of them were like 45 years old, had 3 or 4 kids, into beer drinking, good old boy stuff, country stuff. Not for me at all. I'm not a drinker or a smoker, so this is how I met my wife online, and we chatted for like 2 years, and she was not a smoker or a drinker. She wasn't the type to go running around shopping or chasing around with girlfriends and stuff. She just does not do that. She's a good Christian woman. And so I resolved that by selling my home and coming here 2.5 years ago. And I was here like 6 months and then we got married. So being married with her, and the 2 daughters are grown up and they've all been through college and all of that stuff, and they work and they're really nice girls. And so we made a family right here with the oldest daughter has a 9-month-old boy, and she's married, and he's a really nice guy. None of them drink or carry on, none of that baloney. They like to be home, they enjoy doing the karaoke and being online and TikToking and all of that sort of thing, YouTube vlogs. So they're all having a good time here, and we all get along just wonderful. There hasn't been any harsh words here in this house. I hit it off with the kids okay. Because at my age now, I'm pretty laid back, you know. I did a lot of things through my years. I had trucking business, motorcycle business for years. And I rode motorcycles for 50 years. And I still have my license from America. But I'm not crazy about driving here in the Philippines because they're totally undisciplined. And me being a driving instructor and a trucking instructor, motorcycle instructor, I really can't deal with it. I would be upset most of the time. So anyway, that was the reasons why I left the USA. And I'm glad I did now in hindsight, you know. I actually tried to get out of there about 6 or 7 years ago, but the market was not there to sell the house to get what I wanted for it. And I actually ended up selling it just before the pandemic. I sold it for half of what I should have gotten for it. But it was in the country. I lived in the mountains. Now, come to life over here in the Philippines, it's much easier. There's no way that I could afford a place in the USA for what I'm paying here. It's cheap. So I don't really want to do anything else like that anymore. I've done a lot of writing, and I used to love to go out and sing with a country band on Friday nights in the U.S., but I'm getting to where I don't even want to do that anymore because of my age. I'm content now to be around my family and enjoy what I have right here. So the Philippines, I'll recommend any Americans or foreigners listening, don't have to be from America, but if you want an inexpensive place to live, come to the Philippines. There's all kinds of fruits and vegetables, the food is good, and the majority, I think just about all the Filipinos cook. Very few do not cook. The women take care of the homes, the houses are clean, the food is good and inexpensive. You'll eat a lot of chicken here and fish and pork, adobo, but not much beef. I haven't seen much beef here at all. That's okay with me because I'm really not a big beef eater anyway. But things are reasonable here. Clothing is reasonable. I think that you know, if you don't need to buy a car here, you can get a van to take you to the beach. Daily transportation is by a trike and or jeepneys or the buses. So you really don't need to own a vehicle if you're smart. Don't buy a vehicle. That's my advice. Because I drove for years, had an excellent driving record. I've been a driving instructor for all sorts of things, and never had an accident on tractor trailer, coast to coast in the USA, Canada. So even motorcycles I had ridden coast to coast. So I would say I have a great driving record. I have nothing against owning a vehicle except for don't need one here. And so it's just not conducive to my lifestyle here now. And we have everything that we need right here where we live. We're close to shopping, and for like 50 cents you can get a ride to the store. So no big deal. And really, there's a lack of violence here. It's an easygoing place. Of course, I would say Manila, big city's probably more, because of the homelessness or the lack of money, because people don't make big money here. They're lucky if they make in one day that we make in an hour in the U.S. Very seldom even. Actually, I think the average wages in the U.S. are $15 an hour, and here it's like $7 a day. So you can see there's a big difference. But they're content people, they're happy people. They don't seem to want a whole lot except a normal life. So if you're looking for a woman, do yourself a favor and come to the Philippines. There's like 7 women to every man. And if you're a guy that thinks you want to have a young woman, well, take a chance on that, because if you're too old, they're not going to stay with you. They're just going to take your money. And you can't blame them because they don't have a lot of money here. So you have to make that decision on your own. You know, if you feel okay about it, you know, helping people, that's great, because we've helped a lot of people. I still do. So they're really into family here. So if you marry someone here, you marry the whole family. And they have sisters and brothers and uncles and all that sort of stuff. So not so much like in America, you know, that you live your own life, you hardly even see your relatives over there. But here, you can see the relatives all the time. They come and stay over, everybody eats and has a good time. So we have karaoke machine. They love karaoke. Actually, karaoke was invented here, even though it was produced in Japan. But karaoke was invented here, and so everybody loves to sing. Whole families, everybody sings. It's been very much encouraged here. But getting back to the female thing, okay? Whatever you're looking for. You want a 20-something, you want a 30-something, you're 40-something, whatever. You know, just be mindful that they all have children, and they have somebody in the background. And they could tell you, oh no, I'm single or I'm separated, but there's a man in the background somewhere. If they're fathering children, there's usually a man in the background. You know how that goes anyway. If you're in the USA or UK or Australia, wherever you're from, it's all the same. It's universal. But you can't blame them if they stay with you for a while and you help them out, and then they go on to something else. Well, that's just life. But I would say that mostly Filipino women, they have more pride, and they're not into scamming, really. If you get scammed, it's your own fault, because you didn't do your homework. You need to vet. You know, find out about the person you're dating, because they could have a boyfriend, or they could be doing it to you. If you're an American, you say, oh yeah, she's beautiful, we're friendly, blah, blah, blah. We chat, and we're on video chats and all that stuff. But they're doing the same thing with another guy from Italy or UK or somewhere, wherever you happen to be from. But we say that, I would say 25% of the Filipino women hook up with Americans. Not so much, believe it or not, with German or UK, only like 5 or 10%. Because I think Americans have a different attitude. But I would say the best time to come here is when you're retired. If you have a retirement income, you're going to do great. But if you think you're going to come here and get a job, forget about it. You're not going to do any work here at all. And it's hard for you to have a business. You can set up a business with your wife, have her, you know, do things properly. But like we're planning on doing with our family, the girls want to do something, fine. But you can't, as a foreigner, you can't own the property, you can't own the house or anything. The family has to have it. So I'm good with that. We're hopefully going to build a house here next year. And it's very, very inexpensive to build a house. You can buy a piece of land and build a three or four bedroom house with a couple of baths with carport and everything. You can do that for about $50,000. And you cannot do that in the USA unless you lived up in the woods of Maine or somewhere like that. You know, Montana, out in the boondocks. But, so as far as building something, owning something, and They hand build everything here, all cement, all concrete. Good job, the hard-working men here. Of course, the women are also, but the men that do the labor and stuff, they don't really make big money, believe it or not. They'd be lucky if they get $10 a day. So, you know, Americans, you wouldn't work for $10 an hour, never mind $10 a day. So it's just a whole different scenario here. It's another world. They say it's a third world country, but it's actually more like a second world country because they're developing here. Oh, they're building some beautiful, long bridges and highways and airports. The malls are just beautiful. So don't think you're going to miss anything if you come from America. They have a lot of American products here. They have Pepsi and RC and Coca-Cola. And they have Pizza Hut and Shakey's Pizza Parlor. They have KFC Chicken. They have Kenny Rogers restaurants. Domino's Pizza. Little Caesars Pizza. They have 7-Eleven stores all over the place. And they sell Fords and Chevrolets here. And mostly sell a lot of Hondas and Mitsubishi and Toyotas are big here. And the fuel prices aren't that great. Probably about what they are in the USA now. But I would say that all in all, whatever you had in the USA, you want to go and have a nice dinner, you can do it right here. The only thing I really notice about the fish is totally different here. They don't have haddock. They don't have Alaskan king crab or lobster like we had in New England. But if you have it here, lobster dinner is probably going to cost you $25 or $30. But there's S&R outlets here, which just is like Costco in America, and so they have a lot of wholesale products. A lot of pharmacies here. They have Rite Aid over here. So pharmacies, actually medications are inexpensive here. Nowhere like the USA. Anything else that you want. The clothing is very reasonable here, very reasonable. Shoes, everything. Like I bought a pair of high top sneakers and they're only like $10. They would cost you $60 in the US. So if you're retired and you're on a set income, you want to come to the Philippines and be happy with a good woman that would really take care of you, actually. You don't have to do anything. Just be nice and don't be a jerk. If you're a smoker and a drinker, throw it away. Don't bring it here. Don't bring your bad habits here. They're very religious here. 95% of the people in the Philippines are Christians, Catholics or Christians. And I would say they like a guy that's not abusive and that has good habits and keeps himself clean and that sort of thing, you know. But if you're just going to sit around drinking beer all day, not going to work. You might as well not even get off the plane. That's just my advice. You do what you want, but you would just ruin your chances of having a great retirement life. Because if you're 70 years old, you might live another 10 years. If you want it to be quality 10 years, then pay attention and do what you need to do. Don't get stupid. And it's easy for an old guy to get stupid, you know. You see a beautiful young woman and you say, wow, man, I'm in love. Well, yeah, and easy to do, myself included. But I'd say the quality of women here, very, very different from the Western women. Western women want to go shopping all the time. They have their hand out. Now, not that these women wouldn't like that, but you have to be careful you don't spoil them right away. Too much too soon, you know what I'm saying? Have a nice life. Rent a decent house. You can rent a decent house between $300 and $400 a month. So with everything, you know, you can live pretty good here. All your expenses, electric, and you do have to buy water here because the water is, you can't get water out of the ground like just drinking water. So you buy your drinking water, and you get propane gas. The electric's reasonable. Wi-Fi is pretty good and it's reasonable here. So I'm saying that you can have Wi-Fi, you can have electric, you can have gas, and telephone. And actually, you know what? You don't really need a phone if you have a cell phone. I mean, you have a, you know, because you have a, you're online and you can chat with your friends anyway. So set up your own budget. But if you have yourself a proper budget, you can live pretty damn nice, I would say. You can, as a retired guy, say 65 years old, as long as you can afford the ticket to get over here, you can live for $600 a month, even in a one-room boarding house, without any major problem. Nobody bothers you here at all. They're very, very friendly. They laugh a lot. Yeah, there was just poverty here, like every other place is poverty. But if you're in a way to help them out, but I'm just saying, as a single guy and you don't want anybody else in your life, you can live here pretty good for $600 a month. But if you have $1,000 a month or more, you can have a nice woman in a nice place with all your furniture and all of that stuff, and live good, and live happily ever after. Actually, I have no intentions of going back to the USA. First of all, it's like $1,200 for a round-trip ticket, and I would rather put that $1,200 towards purchasing a piece of property. Right now we're renting here, but we have a nice place to rent. It's 4 bedrooms, and but it only has 1 bath. That's the only thing drawback about this place. But we're in a gated community, so you come here as a single retired man. You can move into a gated community and spend about $700 or $800 a month with everything and really enjoy yourself. You want to ride? The trikes come right to your door. Or you walk out to the guardhouse and you flag down the trike. They pull in and they're out of there all the time. If you want to go any further away, like to the beach or anything, you get on a jeepney. But usually the trike take you to the shopping center, and it's everything you need. I don't care what it is. Everything is here. So it's up to you what you're going to do. But I would say, yeah, after all the places I've been and the properties I've owned and traveled all over the USA and Canada and some Mexico, I've had a very varied life. And I would say that this is the best place. You get more bang for your buck right here. And nobody bothers you here. There's no trouble with anybody. If you're a guy who wants to get drunk every day and get rowdy, then you probably get your butt kicked. But I would say not. We don't have that around here. There's no problems in the neighborhood. Everybody's very friendly and neighborly. And we don't even bother with anyone. We stay home because we have our own family here. And we don't need to be involved with anybody. And even if you want groceries, local store will bring groceries right to your house. So trust me when I tell you, I've been around the block. I'm 82 years old now, and I've done just about everything that any man want to do, and had everything that anybody would want, including beautiful women. But I have a nice wife right now, and I'm going to keep it that way. If she wants to run away, I'm going to tie her up. I'm only kidding, but really, it's a good life here. So take some advice from old buck like me. If you really want to be happy. If you want to be happy the rest of your life, make a Filipino your wife. And from my personal point of view, get a Filipino to marry you. So I guess that's all I have to say right now. But I'd say you don't need a car here. You don't need to go hang out at the bar rooms or anything like that. You don't need to do anything like that. If you want to be healthy, you can't be healthy. You're going to drink yourself or smoke yourself to death. Okay? So don't do that. I'm going to be 83 in January, and I don't do any of that stuff. But I've had a lot of my friends die at 70, 72 years old. Before I left the USA, half of them are dead now. So there's an old adage that says, you are a long time dead. Okay, well God bless, be safe, and look up my channel.